I'm Robin, based in Shanghai, of the member firm RMP China Lawyers. We're the exclusive China member. Both me and my partner are Dutch, but we run a Chinese law firm with approximately 60 staff now, about 30 lawyers and supporting staff. Um, Today, I want to talk about compliance in China. Many people will say, well, does that even exist in China? And well, actually, you'd be surprised. I mean, um, for in recent years, compliance has been one of the key topics for all foreign companies doing business in China, and especially because of rules in your own jurisdiction, UK Bribery Act, FCPA, Sarbanes-Oxley, etc. Um, while corruption and bribery continue to receive a lot of attention in the compliance arena, right now data privacy and general operation compliance are gaining more and more importance for Chinese subsidiaries of international companies. So what's important to understand, I think, is that although most laws and regulations apply equally both to domestic as well as foreign invested enterprises in China, but in practice, foreign invested enterprises, they're traditionally seen as an ideal target for China's very powerful enforcement agencies. Um, if you operate a subsidiary in China, you should just be very concerned about compliance issues, not only from an FCPA UK bribery perspective, but more and more from a China enforcement perspective, because you're such an easy catch for them. So in this session, I want to dive a little bit deeper into first data privacy, because it's such a global issue, and second, um, China's social credit system, which is, I think, anything is something that's unseen anywhere in the world. But it made headlines in the global mainstream, or maybe I should say hashtag fake news media. Um, so starting with data privacy, so China has been very slow to develop a full scope data privacy network. The only mandatory piece of legislation in China right now is the PRC cybersecurity law, and that only came into force in 2017. Now, depending on what your business is engaging in the current legal framework, mainly affects the storage and the cross-border um, transfer of employee information and consumer data, if you have any. So what does that mean for normal companies? They should keep in mind that one, they should always obtain consent for the collection and use of personal data, both from employees or consumers. Two, um, the subject of personal data has the right and thus must have the option to amend or delete the personal data or to withdraw his consent that he gave before. Um, and three, if there's any change of control in the operator of the personal data, this must be notified to the personal data subject. And if the new controller has different plans, or has a different purpose with regard to the use of the personal data, he must obtain renewed consent from the subject. China has also more stringent rules on what they call critical information infrastructure operators. So think the Amazons and the Googles and the Facebooks of this world that have large chunks of data. These companies are already required to keep personal data as well as important data, meaning, for example, statistics or bundles of consumer group information. They must have that stored on servers within China, and any cross border transfers are severely restricted following measures issued by the State Council. So you need to obtain approval for certain cross border transfers. So this is a big issue if you're a company or if one of your clients is operating um, information-based services in China. Um, However, if we look at the various draft regulations, they suggest that companies operating in China can expect more stringent rules on collection, management, and export of this data. I think GDRP in Europe that will also apply quickly in China. So what do I recommend for invested companies in China? One, obtain consent. Two, formulate internal rules just to make sure that everyone in your company knows how to store, assess, and cross-border transfer these data. Um, and three, follow the regulatory updates closely. In China, can go very fast. New laws can come into force within a year after its first draft. Is relatively fast. So make sure you're aware of any changes, because as a foreign company, you're immediately a target. Then I want to move on to the social credit system. So on the one hand, in China, the social credit system applies to individuals. I think that's what you may have read in the news. But there's also a social credit system for companies.
2 minutes.
I think that's unlike anything ever seen in other countries. So it combines a company's compliance record into a social score. So this score is also influenced by the business you're doing, but also by your third parties, your suppliers, your customers. So companies that have their house in order can expect rewards, such as lower taxes, better credit conditions, and public procurement opportunities. On the negative side of the spectrum, it could lead to punishment, such as blacklisting, additional audits from the tax office and other government agencies. A bad rating with one department can lead to a bad rating with another department without you being able to do something about it. So how does Big Brother get this information? It's mainly self-reporting for now, interestingly. So all the filings you do online and with the government, but also public information on platforms such as your local Amazon, etc. It's a source of information. What do I recommend? Companies should identify laws, regulations, and rules that apply to their business, rectify any non-compliance. Most importantly, create an internal compliance system, which most companies in China do not have.
30
They should
seconds.
also regular audits. Secondly, we recommend our clients to do an audit on their supply chain, because seemingly it really affects their score in ways that they can't imagine. So it's like a real social system of companies controlling each other and making sure that they're more compliant businesses. Thank you.